Well, I just installed the 24-inch bar in my little, I don't know what is this, not a little one, I guess it's a mid to semi-large size McCulloch Pro Mac 10. I know it's an older saw. Bar is 3/8, and it's 81 links on the chain, and it's 50 thousandths gauge, which is the same. Yeah, you gotta watch, it's like, yeah, it's not just a 24-inch bar, because you can have a 58 thousandths gauge chain and bar. Sure, you get it's matched. So the saw is working pretty good. The only thing is, I'm not sure if the automatic oiler works. I know I fixed the oil line, had to take out the oil tank and change the oil line, put a new filter on it. I know the manual oiler works, and that's good enough. I just put the clutch shell and spur on here with a needle bearing, cage needle bearing in here. The clutch shell had like wobble on it, and when you hit the chain brake, it would stall it out because there was too much. The clutch shell had so much wobble that it was engaging the clutch too much. Now it still stalls out, say about half the time, and that's because there's probably some wear on the clutch springs. But it's good enough, and it's probably good enough. I'm not even bothered changing the oiler because I got the manual oiler. But this thing does start good. I started it up, it's cold start. I started it up today, cold start, ran good. And I've been looking at some videos on I think it's e-replacement parts that they post videos on YouTube where like the cheaper pull-in pro saws that they sell in the Home Depot and Walmart and Lowe's and shit. I was looking at how they change the parts out. I was like, God, man, this saw, I don't give a crap what anybody says about these older saws. This saw is easier to work on. It's easier to work on, man. Like, you change the oiler, it's just, if you just got to change the oiler itself, I mean, you don't have to take off the clutch and all this other garbage. Say I want to get a new oiler for it. It's right there. Just 4 screws in a gasket, I mean, I got to pull out this thing too, which is just a little clip. There's nothing to it. To get at the ignition module is easy. You just take off the 4 screws here. This comes off, and you got like I think 5 screws on this cover here, 1 here, and 4 other ones, and 2 screws on a module. The module's right there. It's not like you got to take too much off. Actually, I think the piston's not even hard to change on this thing. It's easy to get at the exhaust. It's easy the spark plug's right here. It's not like you got to take a cover off to get out a spark plug. So I mean, I heard that later on, it wasn't for some years later, that they started making lighter saws than this that have more power. This one's still not bad though. It ain't bad, and it'll run a 24-inch chain no problem. I thought I had a 24-inch. I didn't even freaking pay attention. That's why on that other cover I had D70 for 70 links. That was a 20-inch chain. These were sold with 16 and 20-inch chains by the gazillions back when I don't know, McCulloch was still around. I got this one, I don't know, this one might be from the 90s. The other one I got is from the, I think, 79 or 80. And that one still runs good. So I'm going to give this thing a start up. I'll show you, man. It runs freaking pretty damn good, man. So new ignition module, new bar and chain, the carbs all cleaned out and adjusted. Cleaned out the exhaust. I think it's got good compression because it starts up good. I checked the piston, it doesn't have any scoring on it. I think I said new ignition module. Maybe I might change out the oiler, but I know the manual oiler works. Maybe the automatic oiler does work, because I think I got mostly Marvel Mystery Oil in this thing right now, because that was just to clean out the junk, when I was trying to get it going. And maybe when I put the heavier oil in it, the automatic oiler will work great. So let's see what we got here, man. This thing, see if it starts up fast. I ain't sure if I got to choke it or not, because I had it run. It usually starts the first pull, then you got to unchoke it, and it'll run. Maybe half choke it. Screwdriver out here. Yeah. Oh no, there he goes. I had it running just a hair idle because, watch. Well, it did die out. That's why. That's because the clutch still has a little bit, I think the spring tension in the clutch is a little worn, and that's engaging the clutch cell, but yeah, good enough. It's good enough like that, man. It'll work. It's still got a freaking, I mean, I don't have to be, running it with the chain brake on or nothing like that, but it does have a chain brake on it for safety reasons. I got my bucking spikes, and the other one runs good. Let me see if I can start the other one up. Wow, this thing started first pull. Well, just died out. It's not warmed up yet. I was surprised, man. I was like, boo. I just cleaned the plug, that's why. So, let's see if we get, so these both are running good, man. This one, everything works on it. Sometimes it was a bitch to start, though. Let's see what happens here. And once it warms up, it'll idle. Or maybe I got to turn the idle up just a hair, I don't know, but usually it idles fine. But that was it started up first pull. I was surprised, dead cold, but I did start it yesterday. So that one has the replacement carburetor I got off of eBay, and I had to change out the one needle valve in it because the tip of the needle valve was, I don't know, nothing. It's not a needle valve. It's the idle adjustment screw. The tip of it was broken off. So I had it on the other carb. I had that okay. So I swapped out an idle mixture screw. See, this one runs good. And that's why. See, I didn't remember what the hell. I used to use this saw when I first got it a lot for like several years actually. And it's probably got good compression if it starts up first time like that. I mean, not bad. But that's why I put DD70 on here for the chain, and I said, I thought this was a 20. I mean, I don't know. It looks like 2 feet long to me. I mean, but I'm not. You know what I mean? Maybe it is under 2 feet. Figure what? Yeah, that would be under 2 feet. This is 2 feet, right? Shit. I was thinking it was. Then I didn't use it for 8 million years, but I did use it when I first got it a lot, man. I cut lots of cords of firewood with it. I had a '66 3/4 ton Dodge truck with posi rear in it and 8 bolt like split rims on it with a slant 6 and a 4-speed with a granny gear, and I used to pick up the firewood with it. Loaded that bitch up a shitload of times. As a matter of fact, I changed the cab on that truck, the whole cab, and I had to weld floors into that cab. So this one was used a lot, and then it wasn't used, and that's why it got all gummed up and shit, but it still works good. So, and you can tell, I think this one might be from the early 90s, where it says PM 610, and this is a Pro, it's the same thing, a Pro Mac 610. You can see it's a little different the way they have the yellow and the black, and they changed up here in the handguard or the brake. This I like better. So if you take the 2 bolts off the cover, this comes off. You got to take those 2 bolts and you got to take this bolt off because this is attached down there, you know, but it's not really a problem. But that chain is not, I gotta learn how to sharpen chains better. It cuts, but it's not extremely dull, but it cuts okay. Well, this chain should sharp. This one does. I'm sure this one works great. But I got one more. Let's get that mini Mac, that little Mac Cat arbor saw out. That thing I got off of eBay. Probably, I mean, I swear to God, eBay is jacking the prices up on these. Man, I was looking at some posts about freaking from like 2008, 2010. If people were getting rid of saws like this for like 30 bucks, you go on eBay, you're lucky if you find one for 200 bucks. You're paying $160. They say it's for parts only. At least when I got this one, that one there, they knew it ran. I mean, it had a broken oil line in it, and I did change the gas line because that was corroded too, but it ran. You know, it ran, it had good compression, does start up good. Had some little minor problem with a $20-something clutch cell, and the ignition module wasn't broke on it when I first got it, but somehow it broke later. But it did run. It did run. But usually they're selling these saws, if they had some work done to them, they're selling them for like a few $100 on eBay. But you know what? I think they're better than buying a lot of new stuff because there's no computer board in them, circuit board. I don't know, some of these Stills and stuff, or Husqvarnas and stuff, they got circuit board, computer chip boards and shit. I'm like, crap on that. And you notice I got these running a little, probably to run it a little rich. I got 32 to 1. I don't know, maybe I should be running 40 to 1 or maybe close to 50 to 1. And I'm going to be running full synthetic 2-cycle oil in these things from now on because one of the things is if the carbon builds up on this cylinder and inside the top of the head, that could score your piston too. I'm like, really, you know? But they sell replacement pistons for these things with instead of 2 thin ring gears, it's got 1 ring gear. So it actually got better compression than stock. It's more durable. It's a good high quality aftermarket pistons, and you get the bearings you can put in there with the piston bearings. But these saws are actually pretty good, man. They're pretty good. You can actually freaking use them for a couple decades before they even got to be rebuilt. So I don't even think these need to be rebuilt, but if they have need to be, it's going to be way easier to rebuild than one of those. I was looking at the rebuild process on the Pull-In Pro, the little 14-inch ones they sell in like Walmart and Home Depot and Lowe's. Man, that thing's this thing you could probably rebuild 2 of these in the time it takes to do one of those. You know, and just about everything else is easier to change. So let's get out the little mini. I don't know how to fix that mini Mac Cat, but I did take it apart somewhat and I got it running. That was a 4 parts only saw when I got it. And it wasn't cheap, really. It was probably, I think it was like 95 bucks. But it's got the original chain and bar on it, and the original chain is still freaking sharp. So it's got very, very little use. I'd rather have that than some crap out of Wally World. this sucker, you usually got to put a little shot of starting fluid in them to get it going, which ain't a problem because there's a lot of, I'm running kind of a fat oil mix in here, I guess, maybe anyway, because it's got oil on it. It's just enough to get it going. But I know that really what the problem is, it's probably, I got a rebuild kit for the carb on this. What I need to do is soak the crap out of this carburetor after it's all pulled apart in the ultrasonic cleaner with a pretty good, you know, several ounces in just plus water, of course, with awesome cleaner with the heat. Run it through it probably about 6 times and get the check valve real cleaned out, because usually that's why. Yeah, I mean, it could be the plug, it could be just the carburetor's dirty, but I already did take apart the carburetor. But usually when you can't get it running and it's, you know, it's got good spark, it doesn't start, it's got good spark, it's got good fuel, it's got a good plug in there, the air filter's clean, carburetor's clean. There's one part inside the carburetor that's very difficult to clean, is the check valve. So if I run that through the ultrasonic cleaner a bunch of times, I got a rebuild kit for this car, but I'm going to probably change it to the correct. I got a rubber fuel line in there right now. It's actually a vacuum hose because I was waiting to get it running. But I use this thing a bunch of times. I never even sharpened it. It's got the original bar on there, and I opened up the muffler a little bit on it. And when I was fixing these, I was using that little guy to freaking cut some stuff. It was probably like 4 inches, you know, but he cut it, I mean, went through it like nothing, you know. It's an arbor saw, basically. But it's a good little saw, man. So all 3 of these bitches are basically running. And what I like is, you know, once I understand these puppies, man, I sure wish you know what they should have done? They should have just kept making them like this and left all the redesigned bullshit. I mean, I know this is not a lightweight saw compared to today, but I really don't give a crap, to tell you the truth. maybe instead of making maybe some more of the parts could be made out of plastic, and maybe not the, you know, I don't know. I don't see, you know, I don't see a big problem with this, using these saws the way, you know, they say it's old tech. But back then, this was new tech. You know? I mean, for crying out loud, I mean, you could drive a Ford Model A, it was made in 1928, and get around just fine, even on the highways, as long as you're in the slow lane. I mean, this was only made in the 80s or something. So it's a good saw. So, all 3 of these bad boys are running, man. And I don't know how good, I think Oregon makes some pretty good shit as far as, you know, the bars and the chains and whatever, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm happy with them, man. I'll probably still be messing around with that one. I might do the carburetor on it sometime. And I don't know, I think the oilers on it works and shit, and, you know, it's like, I don't know, it's like, these are way easier to work on than the shit they got today. I don't even know. I'm kind of, I might be, you know, like, even like, what do you call that thing? The Rancher. Is that a Husqvarna Rancher? Is that a Rancher? I'm not sure if that one's as easy to work on as this thing. I know this thing weighs more. So what? You know, I mean, when you're resting it on the wood, right? And you pick it up and you lay it on the wood. It weighs a little more, but it's laying on the wood, right? So how much is that? How much effort is that? You know, the weight of the saw is doing the work, right? I mean, you know, they bitch about a saw weighing a half a pound more, 3/4 of a pound more, and then you're lifting up all these freaking logs, to, you know, wood that you cut to put into a truck, and then you're taking that wood out of the truck, you're unloading it someplace else, and you're getting them all in a wedge, and you're splitting all the wood up, and somebody's bitching about a freaking saw weighing a half a pound more or 3/4 of a pound more, which, and when you're using it, it rests on the log anyway, and it cuts through, right? So you got 3/4 of a pound more weight of the saw going through the wood, right? You know what I mean? It's marketing. I'm glad it don't have a freaking computer in it. Because boy, that is what turned me off completely from buying one of these new saws. And the ones that don't have a computer in it, from what I understand, they're not as rebuildable. This old thing, they got all the parts for it, man. If I want to get crank seals and bearings, I mean, they don't wear out that. I mean, freaking, I think you go through a couple pistons before you'd ever go through a freaking crank bearings. And I don't know when the piston's gonna wear out. I know I used that thing quite a bit. That cut a shitload of wood. I mean, for like 4 years. My first 4 years I had it, that thing cut a lot of wood. So, and it's been used off and on since then, but not much. But it did it the first 4 years. That thing had a lot of use. So even though it's been sitting around most of its life, in the beginning it got used a lot. And I figure this one did too, from looking at the bar that was on here. So I mean already they outlast the shit you buy in the store that cost you $200 or whatever the hell it is, that, you know, the ones you throw away after they break. And it's way easier to rebuild. So you can't convince me to buy new crap, really. Like I said, next car I buy might be one of the later model CJ5 Jeeps, or maybe a CJ7 that doesn't have a rusty frame or body, and no emission shit, and you know, I still run my Perfection 1550 heater with diesel fuel to heat the house, and that was patented on June 17th, 1913. So I don't know what the hell they're going to sell me, because everything they knew is a bunch of crap. That's my opinion on it. Over and out.